ICE agents and the rest. But let's look now as President Trump's plane has landed in Philadelphia and he descends the stairs for his first official trip outside the White House to attend this Republican retreat. You know, Greg, as we watch this, it's interesting because it makes me wonder how the pivot was really done among those establishment Republicans now, and they are working. You see the salute there to the military who are standing. Before we get to that, let's let this breathe for just a second. Let's watch. So he's headed to this retreat, and some of these very people were retreating, if you will, from him. And now they're all
nice turn of phrase, Harris. Well done.
I try.
I don't know. They're all on the same side now. I think what's interesting to me is how the left and how in the media the goal is to blur all of these issues into one, so that the idea is to create a perception of an imposition against the citizens. That it's not about illegal immigration, it's about immigration, when in fact it's really about illegal immigration. So the goal is to blur the refugee issue with legal immigration and illegal immigration, so you can paint President Trump and the Republicans as somehow imposing a will on the American public and being mean and evil Republicans, when in fact what they're trying to do is in immigration establish a sort of order, and in the refugee crisis create a certain plan that prevents bad apples from sneaking in with you know, people who need help.
And maybe making a better case of that, because that's a really important point. Because, you know, the left and certainly leftist progressive media would like to paint it as some sort of base Islamophobic policy. When really is, you know, for me, it's a question of freedom, and it's a question of maintaining freedom. And if you have people who want to come here and destroy that freedom and destroy life, that's very problematic, and I think Republicans in this administration could make an even better case for why it's important to vet bad people and keep bad people from coming in.
If you want this country to survive as the way it is, which attracts people to come here, you have to make sure that the people coming here aren't bent on destroying the very reason why they are coming here. So that's the whole point of a vetting process, and in a way how our immigration process has changed, because we're dealing with something that didn't exist 100 years ago or even 50 years ago.
Interesting.
And no, I was going to ask Megan, you know, we talk about immigration, you have a lot of businesses who have seasonal needs for labor and migrant labor. So I'm wondering if you have a president who takes a harder line on immigration, if that president has a better chance of passing a different form of comprehensive immigration reform than Democrats had, or than President Obama with a mixed Congress.
Yeah, and I think it's really, these points that you and Greg are making are really important, that the refugee crisis, you know, immigration on the border, sanctuary cities, these are all incredibly different, incredibly complex issues. And I do agree that it's all sort of being lumped into one, like Americans are anti-immigrants, which is obviously just a scare tactic from the left. That being said, I am also very wary of getting a false sense of security all the way around. What I think is interesting about this ban on refugees, did you know that Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, Nigeria, and France are not included on the list of these countries? From Saudi Arabia, 9/11 attackers, Pakistan, San Bernardino, Nigeria, underwear bomber, France, the shoe bomber. So there are other countries where terrorists are coming here. And again, it's not that I disagree that we need to have better vetting. We don't want to end up like Germany. I certainly don't want to see American streets turning into a place where I need pepper spray simply to go outside. But there are other countries where terrorists in the last 10 years have been coming and attacking us on our soil.
And you have terrorists who are born there or who are naturalized citizens who hold passports in those countries. So if there is any country that is either birthed or housed a terrorist, should that country now be on the list, because then the list grows exponentially.
And again, France in particular. So I just, again, it's not that I disagree with a lot of these policies, because I don't in theory, but these aren't going to 100% solve the problems. And we're not even talking about the lone wolves that are coming and being raised and fostered in this country. My biggest concern right now are the people that are going back and forth to Saudi Arabia, because that seems to be a constant in a lot of these terror attacks that really hasn't been addressed with these new policies.
The liberals think in this country that they can shame the American people into their stupidity. The American people aren't stupid. They know exactly what's going on. The Paris terror attacks, that's when this really started. 2 of those attackers came in posing as refugees. And ever since then, as Germany rapidly ramped up the number of refugees that it was allowing in, we said, wait a minute, in the last fiscal year, the number of refugees coming into this country was up 20%. This year, based on the Obama administration's projection, it was going to be up another 29% from the last year.
Yeah.
So why not take a breath? And I just want to quickly point out that in Germany, that the number of the refugees coming into Germany has fallen dramatically from the previous year.
Angela Merkel had to answer the call.
Plummeted by 600,000 last year.
So she had to answer the call. I mean, when you have a crisis in like the city of Cologne where you have so many sexual assaults, and I mean, you've said on the air before, literally running out of the devices for women to protect themselves, pepper spray, that sort of thing, and not in jest about that at all. I mean, whatever it would be, I mean, we think to New Year's Eves ago and how dangerous it was for women. But you talk about that desire to kind of mimic what others are doing with their immigration, and the idea that we take care of women in this country. I mean, I don't think that Angela Merkel, as a female leader, wanted to really go there.
Yeah.
So she had to address the number situation.
And you know, assimilation in this country is critical and core to who we are and our fabric, and becoming one, which has been the struggle in Europe, where multiculturalism and separation was government sponsored and government sanctioned. Here, assimilation is a critical part of who we are, and so why not take a breath and make sure that the refugees who are coming in do become one with the U.S.
We can tell from just this short conversation and others that we've had here on the couch that this is such an intense issue around the country right now. So we saw the live pictures change, obviously, with the president being whisked away in his motorcade on his way to Lowe's Hotel. And as we wait to hear from the president in Philadelphia, we are seeing a lot of pushback over his executive order cracking down on sanctuary jurisdictions. I mentioned this moments ago. Protests in some cities and mayors are speaking out about this. New questions over the battle shaping up between liberal cities and our federal government. And Melania Trump is reportedly gearing up to fight back against left-wing haters who keep taking jabs at her and her family. Whether the First Lady is being treated fairly. Stay close.
Would you like to own an asset that has the potential for a 60% increase or more? Well, that investment is silver, and you can buy it at today's low price. If silver just
Yeah, I like Bitcoins better.